All right, welcome everyone to today's webinar, our final product demonstration webinar for 2022, where we are taking a look at our smarter range of CPD packages. So my name is Aaron Dunn, and I'm joined today by David Devine, who is our Sales and Development Manager. And between us, we're going to be taking you through to help understand what we actually have available to you to maintain your currency of knowledge, and not only maintain, but grow your currency of knowledge personally and within your business and your team through our suite of CPD solutions. So in the context of what we're going to be covering today, you're going to hear from me a little bit, and then I'm also going to let David go through a whole range of issues that you can see in today's session. So I'll touch on a little bit about the feedback that we get with the challenges today, a bit about us, and then we'll get into the delivery of training, what to expect once you become a member. We'll then spend some time navigating and showing you our learning platform, navigating around how you can access our training, our resources, our course content subject to what you access. We'll talk about the benefits of our different CPD subscriptions, the packages, some FAQs, and then takeaways. So if you do have any questions as you go along, you can feel free to ask those of us, and we'll be happy to answer those, or we may end up covering them in the FAQs at a later point in time anyway. So what we know, and this hasn't changed for some period of time, is that maintaining currency of knowledge when it comes to self-managed super funds remains the number one challenge for practitioners. And the reason why this is the case is because superannuation continues to change in its own right. And therefore, being able to understand the current issues, whether they are from a policy perspective, so what is the government doing that is impacting this? What is Treasury doing? So translating what has been proposed to what actually is going to then form part of subsequent changes. So if we think about federal budget into consultation, into actual legislation and regulations, we also then have various other regulators that also impact the way in which they provide updates, the ATO, ASIC. We can even think of the business registry services at the moment with director IDs. All of these things are significant on you as a practitioner to be able to remain up to date. And that very much is the essence of what we do with our members each and every day, not only through the use of our CPD, but obviously the support that we provide through various mediums of Smarter SMSF. So as I said, legislation continues to move. Federal budgets, ATO updates with NALI, and other various reforms. So what does become critical in this process is the timing of information available to you so that you understand these issues, and not only the issues, but the opportunities that may be presented with your clients as well. So a really good example of this was the July 2022 changes that came about with removals of the work test, age reductions in downsizer contributions and the like. So we were not only able to deliver those in a web environment, but we also touched on those through our SMSF days that we ran around the country in July as well. And again, we looked at not only the issues, but the strategies that came out the back of those. Now, one of the big things that we recognize is the fact that it may be you attending a particular event, it may be you attending a particular webinar or looking at a course. So the transfer of knowledge. So how is this information trickling through your organization? Is it a top-down approach? So it may be from the partner, and then how is that feeding through to managers and all the way down to various staff that are involved in the process? Or is it a bottom-up approach whereby maybe some of the more junior staff are going, but how is that information then fed up the food chain to ensure that those that need to be able to provide advice on certain things can do so as well? And those two challenges or conundrums really sit at the very forefront of what we do with our education at Smarter SMSF, that we scale out the delivery of content so that it can be done efficiently to you in a web environment, we pitch it at different levels. So our SMSF Foundations course, for example, may be pitched at a lower or a less experienced SMSF practitioner against our, say, Changing Face of SMSF, which is a technical update that keeps people up to date with all of those legislative changes that are occurring within the organisation. And the fact that we can deliver this in multiple mediums enables you to share that, such as through our CPD business approach that gives multiple team members access to that content on an ongoing basis. And then finally, we know that CPD obligations are mixed and quite diverse, maybe financial planners, maybe accountants with different professional bodies that need tax practitioner board requirements, advisors that may need FAQs standards, we need audit hours. There's a whole range of facets that need to be satisfied here that, again, Smarter SMSF, as an accredited educator with the SMSF Association, is able to help deliver across those multiple professional bodies.
Oh, one comment back on that last slide, please, Aaron.
Yeah.
So there's it's important that with the number of hours about, obligations with the CPD is important, but it's also the content. And I might add that I had a member who attended one of our events. He contacted me straight after the event and said, I was sitting there listening to Aaron and his topic, and straight away I had 5 clients I could think of straight away where I could go and apply the knowledge to and need to engage with. So it is, it's a bit more engaged in than just simply ticking a box in CPD.
Yeah, so there's a real practical element, I guess, that in terms of what we try and provide as well. So we will talk to examples and case studies to help understand the various issues. If you've been to any of our web-based or face-to-face training, you'll know that kind of how we unpack what is complex and the complexities in it into a way in which you can go and apply it in your practice is something that we do feel very proud of in terms of the way in which we get that feedback from our members and the way that people engage with us. So a bit, I guess, about why Smarter. So, again, it's all about the fact that we offer a reliable, scalable, low-cost automated model. And we do this through not only our document solutions, but we also do it through the way in which we deliver education. We can do it through web-based learning, which we have done for a decade now. So we were very much, first movers in this space to be able to deliver online training. And we've been a first mover when we moved to an e-learning environment with the delivery of our Smarter SMSF course. So these sorts of evolutions that we see in the way in which education can be delivered, we have been and will continue to be at the forefront, not only because it's the way in which the broadly education is being applied, but we know that there is an efficiency and an effectiveness in delivering that way as well. So again, from a conceptualization point of view, we've kind of evolved our business. Many of you may recall it as SMSF Academy previously, where it was in essence our core focus. But we have grown and grown quite substantially, where we now provide multiple hundreds of firms that we provide training and document subscriptions through, and now into the thousands of firms that actually access our training and documents each and every year. We are one of very few providers in the industry that is an accredited educator with the SMSF Association. And you can go to the link and find out a little bit more there. But I think it's just important to recognize what this actually means. So this is off the SMSF Association's website that recognizes that our ability to hold this logo sets us apart from other providers as a pillar of SMSF education in the sector. So the SMSF Association in its own right encourages members to look out for those that provide SMSF accredited education as a brand mark to ensure that they are undertaking accredited and high quality education to continually enhance their SMSF knowledge. So this is something that quite clearly we have to go through as a process, not only initially, but an ongoing basis to be held out as, like I said, one of half a dozen at most in this particular space. And what this ultimately means is that for you, it gives you the confidence that we are delivering content that is timely, that is relevant, and ensures that it allows you to go and focus on what you do best, and that is to engage with your clients and drive the strategies and manage the issues for them. So, David, I might hand over to you here in terms of how we actually go about the delivery of our CPD training throughout a calendar year.
Righto, thanks, Aaron. So, as a member, becoming a member of the CPD, we actually deliver across a range of events, and the first set is webinars. You can see there it's quarterly. There's a number of different events. So quarterly, there's a half yearly, specialist topics throughout the year that Aaron will come across a piece of information that's worthy of broadcasting it out to our members. So he'll put together a webinar. It's already there for everybody to access. And there's also a range of promotional webinars. So the important thing here is that the mediums are live and also recorded. And as members, they are for you and you only. There are a number of other topics that you have access to, but predominantly being a member of the CPD, and depending on the package, you'll get an invite to each and every event that takes place from us.
Yep. So the one important thing to note here is that across our live webinar training, so what we call our accredited CPD, we will be providing, in essence, minimum 15 hours of CPD through that monthly webinar training that is delivered. From our quarterly updates standalone, they provide 8 hours of CPD, because not only are we providing a 1-hour webinar, we are providing a comprehensive workbook that comes with it that allows you to read and update and understand these issues further, in which we also provide an additional hour for that. As David said, we run live webinars, and those that attend will receive their CPD certificate off the back of that. For those of you that, as David also mentioned, access the webinar recording through our learning platform, which we'll show you a little bit later, a CPD assessment forms part of that process. But in essence, everything that we run during the year then goes back into, from a CPD context, back into our learning platform, giving you not only access from a live context, but what we hold each and every year, allowing you to potentially go back even 12 months or more to try and find a topic and get yourself up to speed. So David, next.
Yes, back now out in the world with face-to-face events, which were very well received. And in fact, it was right around all of Australia. In fact, Aaron presented. And so we've already done a bit of preparation for next year's events. And you can see that Aaron is back out again with in the first quarter with the SMSF days, and then a masterclass mid-year.
Yep. Yeah. So again, we see face-to-face events being core to what we do, rather than just delivering online. So we'll have more information that we'll be sharing around those in the next few weeks with particular dates. But again, we'll be going right around the country with those, and also those half-day masterclasses that we see as an opportunity in our travels as well during that point in time. And again, we'll look at the particular topic. It may be around what we see in the federal budget, or it may just be a more specialist topic. And most importantly, we're going to be getting some feedback from you. You'll see a survey come out within the next week, a comprehensive survey, and that really helps shape the way in which we can be delivering content to you as a member as we move into the next calendar year.
And I actually saw at one of the events in Melbourne in particular that the session finished at about 4:30. There was 10 plus people still hanging around at 5 to 5, asking further questions and engaging with Aaron on some of the topic of the day, and a number of case studies. So the benefits of being in front of people basically, and engaging with colleagues across the table, etc., other than a lecture through a webinar, so to speak.
Yeah, and we recognise in today's day and age now that we will need to also run some live streamed events. So those of you that may have attended our SMSF days virtually that we did in 2020 and 2021, we do see an opportunity to continue to run that type of format. We will probably do those in respect to certain masterclasses throughout the year. And again, it gives us an opportunity to look at multiple topics and multiple speakers in that regard. So most importantly, we see a variation of ways in which we can deliver content going forward, in addition to naturally our e-learning environment that we see as a fairly substantial growing area in the future as well. So, and you can, of course, keep up to date with all of our events through our Smarter SMSF website. And most notably, we do produce an events calendar that is downloadable by PDF, and that will enable you to then go in and, I guess, save the dates on particular things if that registration has not yet actually opened. And David, it might even be worth us jumping across to that now. I know I don't have that open, but I might just go there and show people exactly what I'm talking about. So if we go to smartersmsf.com/events, and then what you will see at the top here is the ability to download the schedule. So this is a rolling 3 months. And again, we'll be updating this shortly, but you can see here that we have it all color coded, and it talks about where we will be, the topics that we'll be covering. And we, again, put some color coding here so that you know what it is actually about as well. So anything you want to add there, David?
Yes, as a CPD membership, you'll have, firstly, the green is the core of the membership, being the awarded knowledge hours under CPD. However, the invites across everything you see, all those events. So, yeah, be it a product demo, it could be about a document update or release where Aaron will put a practical session together other than the technical session, the face-to-face, and as you can see there, I think there was yellow regarding federal budgets, etc. So you'll have the invitation to every single event.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we'll go into a bit more detail about the benefits of subscription shortly.
Yeah. All right. So maybe, David, just a quick summation around our foundations course, because this is something that has been hugely popular, not only within our own platform, but also across a number of larger firms that have also looked to deploy this inside of their own business for multiple staff.
Yep. So it's an overview only today because we do have a recorded session on this particular topic because it's worthy of expansion and navigation of the course itself. It is for existing practitioners or new staff members. Conversations with businesses nearly every second day about the course and the benefits of putting somebody through this. It's the beginner base to the intermediate, or if you need a brush up on a particular topic, worthwhile doing. 7 modules across a range of topics. We have a dedicated web page on the foundation course, so you can actually look at the breakdown of each of those modules. It is a remote access, so you're actually doing it at your own pace, logging in, opening, working your way through a particular topic, exiting. When you go back in, it will pick up where you left off. So it is narrated by Aaron. So you've got the environment is a presentation slides with Aaron, actually, as I said, narration with a workbook. There is on each of the topics a quiz, an assessment. There is other types of assessment built into the course. I've heard back from staff members who've gone through the course. There's particular references and that you can bookmark to various websites. So it's all about building knowledge and then applying it in your role as you move forward. It is certainly interactive. There is a certificate upon completion. It's updated constantly. And the other benefit is that there is actually an add-on, an update module. A lot of people will take this option up because it keeps the course open beyond the 4 months you have available to complete. And people use it as a resource library. So if they're searching for particular topics, they'll be able to search back through the system or the workbook, see the calculation, right, got it, be able to apply the solution to a client query.
Yeah, so a couple of things here. I think if you buy it standalone, you get 4 months. So to what David was just talking there about is that we do see people that say, actually, this is fantastic as a resource because you guys are updating it regularly. And we use our changing face of SMSF as kind of the measure for certain updates. So what then you can do is subscribe to an annual update add-on, and that will ensure that you get continued access to the course and enables you to go, okay, well, the contributions changed substantially from the 1st of July 2022. We then did a fairly substantial recut of that module on the contribution rules. It would enable you to go back in. And again, the way in which we built this deals with the various ways in which people learn, because some people may enjoy reading. So therefore, we have well over 200 pages of content within each of the various workbooks. Some others are more visual. I know I'm a visual person, so you get much more value out of the interaction that is on the slides, the videos, and so forth. And even some people are more auditory. So we record the narrative on each slide to help you listen to validate and understand the content that we are providing as well. So it's very deliberate the way this has been structured. And we expect to enhance this as we move into 2023 with some additional modules as we start to ramp up some of our resource allocation into our education area as well. So, and again, we'll show you quickly as we go in there as well. So, David, what can people expect as a CPD member?
That's right. Well, we've seen already and spoken about that as a member, you will be getting invites to each and every event, particularly that's that green dots you saw on the calendar.
Yep. And then you'll get, naturally, once you get your member invitation, what will happen from there is you will get a reminder about a week out to register, which is really a one-click registration approach. And then if you haven't yet registered, you will get that reminder on the actual morning of the event. And it's quite funny how many people then click on as members on the morning of. They totally forget about it. And then they go, oh, yes, actually, I can attend that in an hour's time or a couple of hours' time, whatever the case may be. When we run the sessions, you will get a copy of the slides, typically around an hour before the event. So in that reminder, any workbooks, other materials will also be a part of that. That information is all uploaded post-event to enable you to get that as well, which forms, again, part of that post-event process. So those that attend, you'll get obviously a thank you with a follow-up, potentially surveys, other instructions. For those that didn't, we then will ask you to understand that obviously that recording has now gone to be uploaded, and therefore you'll be able to access that at a future point in time.
So yeah, if you've got client meetings, etc., or are unable to attend that live event, it's recorded for you, and it's then housed in your Learning Suite library. So as a member, you've got access to the recording, to the workbook, complete the quiz, and then moving into receiving the CPD certificate.
Yep.
Looking at all the CPD hours, the type of knowledge areas you've completed. So we'll certainly see in a moment exactly all this in play. So it's important to know that workbooks, checklists, flowcharts, all the resources that have been generated for a particular session is uploaded into the library that you have access to as a member.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So from a CPD point of view, you'll get your certificates if you've attended within sort of a couple of days thereafter. Otherwise, that if you didn't attend, you may have registered but didn't attend, we track all that information and you'd simply need to go into the platform to validate that learning, which would then include a CPD quiz. Once you've gone through that process, as we'll show in a second, you'll then be able to see that information through your member profile.
So that last point is probably probably one of the most important things that people will ask of you. Oh, look, I need CPD hours.
Yep.
If I become a member, do I have access and can I make up the hours? And the answer is yes. You can go into the library basically, and if it's still current and relevant, a topic, you can work through the recording, complete the quiz, and be allocated the CPD hours.
Yep. All right, so let's jump into the live demo. So David, hopefully you can share your screen here.
All right, here we go. Just jumping across.
Yeah.
Okay, can I share that? Can I minimize?
Yep. I can now see your screen, so that's
I'm
okay.
trying to get my menu out of the way. There's the dashboard. That's important. That's what I'm looking for.
So I can see the CPD calendar at the moment.
No, it's just try that one more time. I want to move off the calendar back into
calendar again.
No, it's not successful, unfortunately.
Okay. Do you want me to jump on mine?
How about that one?
Dashboard.
Dashboard.
That is correct. You're in.
Great.
Well done.
Okay. Work better in rehearsal. All right. Yeah. So this is, once you've logged in to the platform, you need a login. It's important to validate your email address. So leading up to the discussion and getting a login, I'll be watching in the background to make sure that you can actually access the system. You will arrive at the dashboard where we are now. So the first thing you see is a number of allocated events. So if you have purchased the foundation course, we'll be sitting here. If you've purchased access to the online course, that's available as well. All the webinars, because you've got access to that library we spoke about of previous events and recordings. There's also a link to the website where we were before, looking at the calendar and future events that you can to look in. A quick other part of the navigation is you can see a summary of courses, what you've completed, certificates, and allocation of CPD hours. So that's important. That's there continually. So if you need to print these off for auditors or other allocation of hours, it's all there for you. On the left-hand side, you can see there's multiple ways of getting to the same point: courses, webinars, and resources. Resources is actually our knowledge base. That is a suite of recordings, and that could be something about, a document, integration with software, and I'm also thinking of user guides as well, help guides we put together in there, so it's worthwhile doing that. If you've got questions about something that you may have need a reset on the attempt of questions through a webinar or the foundation course, you can do that through our support area.
Yep.
Okay, I'll go through webinars just to show the library. So here is a list of previous events, and you can see a summary of what the event was, and you've got access to the materials if there's any workbooks, flowcharts, and also the quiz. So you'd simply watch the recording. When that's completed, you can attempt the questions of the quiz and be allocated the CPD certificate.
Yep. So it might be worth, David, just going into that one, just we can show everyone what sort of expects. So what you'll see here is that we talk then to the topic. So we kind of go from the content that we had from the website in a live environment. So, and then we transpose that obviously into the course itself. So this is the information you'll see on the right-hand side. We reference when it was actually recorded. And then under that, so David, if you can scroll down, you can't see that there. So I'm just trying to work out why you can't see that, but we should have underneath that, maybe go to the changing face of in September. You should then have in there with your access the ability to see, like this one, the module itself. So if you click on that module, it will then have the actual recording in there. So you'll be able to go and watch that recording. You can click on materials. You'll then see the slides and the workbook that are there for you to be able to access as well. Once you've watched that topic, you'll be able to mark that as being complete, and then it will take you into the CPD quiz. And the CPD quiz here is a multiple of 5 questions, of which you have 10 minutes to complete. So there is not only 5, there is there are a set of questions that will roll through that you'll need to get an 80% pass mark, in which you'll have a couple of times to successfully complete it. So 5 questions, 10 minutes, 80% pass mark. And once that has been completed, you will go back to the course page itself, and you will then see on the actual course page. So David, if you go back into the webinars for me again, if you wouldn't mind, one that actually, if you go down, if you go back to your profile, sorry, if we just, one that you may have completed, I just want to show our audience today where the CPD certificate comes up. So if you scroll down on the right-hand side here for you, so go down, so there's one that's completed, or even the tax planning below that. So one of those, but what you do is you'll get in the end, so this was our SMSF Day online course that we delivered in a similar way. And then once that has been successfully completed, you will see at the very top of the screen the ability that you have earned a certificate, and then you can download that from the actual site, and it will recognize when it was completed, the authorization code, and then the relevant mapping for both ASIC knowledge areas and FAQs purposes as well. So that will log in that instance the fact that David has then earned 8 hours. And then when we go back to the dashboard, the culmination of that, you will then see in here is the points that he's actually earned. So here it's showing that he's got 12 completed, 11 certificates, and 32 points there out of the 26 that he's actually got access to in there as well. So that's conceptually the idea of how that works. And it's those same principles that our online course, SMSF Day online course, was done. And if you, David, go into our foundations course there, it is in a similar vein as well in terms of how you need to go through and access the course in its own right, or if you're looking at particular modules there as well. So if you go into, so estate planning, so again, the foundations or principles of that are exactly the same. And then it will enable you to obviously go in and watch the module, and then you can access from within that module the different topics. It's got audio, as we said, over it, and it has all of the relevant slides and other resources internally within that you can get, David, on the right-hand side there with the 3 lines. If you look at the 3 lines just above that play button, then you've got all the information and so forth that's in there, the resources in the bottom right there. So glossaries, workbooks, et cetera, et cetera. So there you can see that estate planning has 27 pages of content. As I touched on before, it's got over over 200 pages in total as part of the resources with the SMSF Foundations course. So yeah, so that gives you a bit of an understanding of, about navigating around. David, I don't know if you wanted to add anything further from the dashboard point of view, or any of the other areas in here.
Just that if you do have some questions, you can log a ticket through our support area within the dashboard as well, and the knowledge base, which I'll just quickly open. So you can search through a range of information. You can look at all sorts of webinars on different topics. There's a user guides on the foundation course. Yeah, there's everything we do is put inside the resources area of the knowledge base now.
Yeah, so these sort of sessions are a good example of our product demos that we will add into this resource area. We don't add these types of sessions into the actual learning platform, so the library, because obviously this is not for CPD purposes. It's a CPD webinar, but it's not for CPD purposes. So these types of things we then put into here for you to go and have a look at if it is of interest to you. But all of those accredited CPD training sessions sit within the learning platform that require you to naturally log in as well. So David, if you can just go back to the dashboard page for me, if you wouldn't mind. Yep. Even just click on the module 7 there next to it in the next tab.
Yeah, it's not, it's just slowing down. There we go. Yep. Cool.
Yeah. So what, and it's probably where it's exactly where that other page was actually going to, but what is important to note is that you can interchange between the platforms. So we use single sign-on. So you can see there's learn.smartersmsf.com, and that is our training platform. And your login into the training area will also give you access to order documents. We have people that have multiple subscriptions, ordering documents, also access to training. These are interchangeable. So you can work from one side to the other through a single sign-on process that will enable you to then go back and order documents through the Smarter SMSF platform as well. So that one's booted you out, but I know, David, the other one there, the other page next to it, the tab next to it, did actually take you, no, the other way, left.
There you go.
The other one did take you back to there. So, so in that regard, you can always go back and see where you are at with ordering documents. And then also, obviously, you can go back into the Learn area again and advance yourself straight into webinars or courses or whatever, if you needed to as well. So they're interchangeable, I think, is the most important thing to note there, as you can just see what David has done.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Well, let's duck back to our slides now. I might just open up this one again. This one is the one I want. Okay. So David, let's go through now some of the benefits.
So as a member, you'll have access to the invites to the webinars, which were green, purple, everything in the event calendar. Yep. You also have member discounts to the virtual and face-to-face events, and that's important because as events, and you can see there's the SMSF days and the workshops next year, you'll have access to discounts as members to. Yes. To sign up for those face-to-face.
Yeah, so we might do a very short active promotion to launch our SMSF Day events, which we typically do every year, and that may be at our member price. The important thing to note is our member price is our member price all the way through to the actual day of the event. So it is an opportunity, and it is a benefit to being a member, is that you'll be made aware of when these events are happening, the ability to register for these events before anyone else. We did have our Melbourne and our Perth events sell out. So it is about getting priority access to these and getting a discounted price to what our early bird price is and also what our standard price is as a benefit to being a member.
Yep, we've also seen today that having access to the learning platform, watching the event, if you're unable to attend that live event through a webinar, it's going to be there as a recording, a reminder to get a copy of the slides, access the workbooks, the additional resources, complete the quiz in your own time. And we've seen the CPD library as well of all your certificates, what you've completed, the knowledge areas, and across each of the events you've completed for an assessment. Discounts for the SMSF Foundation course, individual modules, your own login. It's important that you do need your own login for this CPD. If there's a number of staff members who would benefit from a CPD subscription, they will each need their own login, which we will be able to set up for you.
Yep.
The resource library, checklist, flowcharts, all those ebooks are within the library itself. And the technical support, you can log a ticket and they'll be triaged and responded to. So that's important as well, to be able to contact us. If it's through the foundation course, you're questioning the quiz, you can actually talk to someone. That's important.
Yep.
To be able to access. You can telephone, email, or through the ticketing system. So we're here to help and support your knowledge.
Yep. And this is one of the other things. So I think what we've been learning ourselves over the past 12 to 18 months is a real identification process of the growing number of members that we've got in from both a document point of view, but also a CPD perspective as well. So David, I might get you to kind of just go through the navigation here to help people understand where they might actually fit in our existing CPD product line. You just gone to mute, David, there. I can't hear you now for some reason.
Oh, there we go. So,
there you go.
Yep, it's a series of questions to arrive at a pathway of arriving at a CPD subscription outcome. So a number of questions, and we've put this together from many, many telephone calls over time. We thought it'd be easier for a little bit of a self-assessment that, looking at those questions about remaining up to date, knowledgeable across areas of legislation, technical standards. Is it a case of keeping up to date, keeping CPD records, requiring structured CPD hours? Do you need a range of CPD specialist topics? So how many hours you're looking at for yourself or for your team, and ultimately you'll arrive at a CPD outcome, be it a quarterly update for just simply a top up of CPD hours because you're accessing CPD in other areas and other resources. It could be a case of, yes, I need further CPD knowledge. So our CPD regular subscription, a number of team members, staff members need CPD as well. We've got packages to cover that under CPD business. And if you're looking at a technical support, accessing knowledge from Aaron, then you've got CPD and so technical support as well.
And our packages then?
Our packages are offered through a monthly subscription or a annual subscription. The annual subscription, there's a savings there of about 16.5%. If you do pay upfront, it is over a 12-month period. You can see through each of those options a number of hours, and that's a minimum number of hours. We've found over the course of the last 2 years, Aaron's provided probably closer to 18 to 20 hours of some of these CPD requirements and each of the topics that we've put together. You can see for quarterly, regular and support, it is for just a single user, but business is up to 5 users. So a number of people having access in your business, each will receive a CPD certificate and their own login to their own learning suite, which is important.
So the one thing to know, I mean, we structured this CPD business concept, again, just based upon a threshold, I guess, ultimately. But I mean, we do have businesses that need more than that. I think, David, we've got one firm that has around 14 or 15 that have been added through that process. So naturally, we can alter the monthly or annual subscription cost to deal with the number of people within that business, rather than, of course, looking at it in an individual or single user context as you might through CPD regular there. So, so there is scope if you need to kind of look beyond, say, a 5-user limit, then naturally there is an opportunity to do so, and you can have a discussion with David about that as well.
And you're also looking at an average of about $53 a webinar. So it's, yeah, very economic.
Yep,
and even
absolutely.
further reductions if you're looking at a CPD business option as an example.
Yep. So I'll get you to talk about this as well.
There's an offer there today. So if you want to take up one of our CPD subscriptions, there is a bonus offer of an extra month of CPD. There's a code available to put in, the coupon code, when you're going through the website to to put in and commence your subscription, there is an offer until the 16th of December.
Yep. So if you buy it on a regular perspective, so a monthly basis, you won't be charged until the end of that month. So there is, in essence, a deferral put on until that first payment, giving you that first month free. If you buy it as an annual subscription, in essence, what will happen is we will be adding a month on to the renewal. So if you purchased it today on the 29th of November, then the renewal would not occur until the 29th of December 2023. So if you've got any other questions around the various packages, and if you're wanting to take advantage of this offer, again, you can get in contact with David. The details are there, and he'd be happy to walk you through those. So David, I might get you to just run through a few scenarios that we've seen, again, with firms that take up our various CPD packages.
Yep. And so here's Jackie with 8 staff members. After COVID now, the new normal is her team is split across locations, both at home office and in the main office itself. So it's difficult and challenging to have everybody in the one place working through CPD now. So Jackie looks at a subscription for CPD Business as a solution, where a number of team members can have access to the training, and she's reassured them that they're completing their CPD requirements, gaining the knowledge, and she can also potentially check their CPD certificates as well.
Yeah, and that's a really important piece as well, that we can actually then provide some data or some tracking of information. So one of the common things we do with firms that might have 5, 10, 15, and even 20 staff going through different courses or other things, that we can actually produce some level of reporting out of our learning platform in respect to who has completed what and when, so that potentially internally there can be further follow-up as and when is required.
Yeah, and I've got a business in Queensland where there are actually 10 people working through the foundation course. So I'll regularly put out a monthly report to the admin manager about where they're at, what modules they've completed, and how far they've progressed, which is very important.
Yep.
Here, Jackie has a subscription. Once again, a number of staff members needing now, they've progressed from perhaps a graduate into, they've 12, 24 months into their roles, and they're looking now to meet obligations around additional accounting association memberships. So again, CPD Business was the best solution for Jackie's staff members to take up. Yep. Often I start with this type of discussion where Jackie is looking at topping up her CPD hours with keeping up to date with the legislative, technical and professional standards. She's sourcing CPD from other areas, but looking for not just a top up of hours, but also another approach from another area of deliverable of topics. So CPD quarterly was enough for Jackie on this occasion. Yeah, and you can see there, 4 webinars and 6 hours of CPD.
Yeah, so one of the things that we do regularly, we obviously, what we do is SMSF, and we do it as good as anyone in the caper. So we do see a broad range of firms that maybe subscribe to other training solutions. It may be in-house, it may be with other providers. And they may provide a more broader scope of topics. And some of that may incorporate SMSF. But what we then find is that there are firms that go, actually, we really need a little bit more meat on the bone when it comes to what's happening within the SMSF sector. We're more than happy with our existing service provider, but we need a solution that just bolsters our capability of our self-managed super fund team, or the information that we need to be able to support our SMSF clients. And again, we have a solution here where it may be, in this instance with Jackie, she could just attend our 4 quarterly technical updates, keeps her up to speed, and gets that CPD that she needs as well. All right, so David, few FAQs I'm just going to fire at you here. So quite often, people obviously in the force, in the working environment, so naturally they might be on a desktop or laptop. We're not naturally just restricted to those in terms of accessing the learning platform?
No, it's mobile responsive. So for our course webinar, it's on a tablet device, phone. Yeah, it's not just restricted to the desktop.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And from a subscription point of view, I guess we cover the broad spectrum of individuals and organizations that work within the SMSF sector.
Yep, across the accounting, major accounting bodies, TPD hours, ASIC, FACIA, out knowledge areas. And it is for, we do have a number of financial planners attending our events quite often. Licensees have actually given us the tick to provide CPD requirements to their license, SMSF associated hours and auditor hours as well.
Yep. Yeah. So, and I think just going back a step, that we talk to firms of all shapes and sizes. So we will deal with someone who is a sole practitioner, and they might be accessing the training, they might be accessing our course, and the ability for them to have the confidence in understanding what they need to know at a particular point in time for a particular client. At the other end of the spectrum, we are dealing with firms that have tens and even hundreds of staff, where an offshore team is a perfect example, where we can structure the way in which you deliver content. And we have examples now where we're giving the files of our courses and putting it into external learning management systems to be able to support those teams, because as a firm gets much larger, there needs to be system and structure and approach in which learning is then applied within a particular organization. So I guess, this is not a business in terms of Smarter SMSF that says we only deal with small firms, we only deal with large firms. We have technology here, and the way in which we deal with that technology gives us a broad approach to dealing with specialists, to dealing with generalists, to dealing with experienced practitioners, to dealing with those that might be just starting inside the SMSF industry. And that is all about our mandate and mantra of trying to increase professional standards within the SMSF sector. One of the common questions, David, I think that we get asked is around the fact that if someone may have a CPD regular, can more than one person access that within the organisation?
Well, no, everybody will need their own individual login, and that's reflective of the issue of the CPD certificate for just that one subscriber. Two-factor authentication is also put an end to some of that as well. So yeah, you'd look at a CPD business option in that case.
Yeah, and that's a good point. So we have recently, as part of our digital security protocols with the ATO, with our document platform and the requirements for our integrations with BGL and Class and Supermate, that we did need to move to a multi-factor authentication. So that does apply right across the site in general. So yes, there were people that might have had one subscription and multiple people might have logged into that, and potentially you could work around that still. The big thing to note, though, is that if you have a CPD regular and then you all get together as 5 or 6 in a room and watch that live webinar or watch that recording, we're not here to stop that. We can't. But we note that the person that is registered for the subscription is the one that will be issuing the CPD certificate for. So there is no scope to issue CPD certificates beyond that. So therefore, unless you move to a CPD business, of which each and every person then will naturally get access to their own login, and therefore will be able to complete that in their own time. Now, those 5 or 6 people may watch the webinar together online. It may have been pre-recorded, but each of those 5 or 6 people could then log in and complete the assessment themselves to then obtain that CPD certificate in their own right. So, and then the last one, can I purchase a ticket to attend one webinar and or request the recording? So we do still have access to PAYG, but quite clearly the cost around these, we're looking at $120, $130, even as much as $198 to attend a webinar, as opposed to the benefit through subscription. All right, so some key takeaways, I guess, from here. we see being busy naturally creates real challenge. And I'm sure you, like us, are flat out in the challenges coming to Christmas. But what is really important here is the ongoing investment in you and your team with SMSF knowledge is going to form part of the ongoing success that you'll have for 2023 and obviously the years beyond. And this is all about maintaining and then improving the existing relationships with your clients and therefore attracting new clients. Our role in helping you achieve that is to ensure that we can deliver timely and relevant information to you to enable you to focus on what you do best. And we do that as a business by providing a variety of options to help you and your team maintain and grow the currency of your SMSF knowledge. And we do that, therefore, by leveraging our SMSF specialization within our team, and also through the technology that we have available to us. And all of that combined is designed to help support you, to enable you to work with your SMSF clients to comply with the regulations efficiently and ultimately cost effectively. So David, any final comments that you just want to add from a key takeaway perspective?
Yes, Aaron. So as a subscription holder of CPD, in a way, it takes the worry out of trying to work out where am I going to get all my CPD knowledge from, and the relevant number of hours. So that's what we're doing for you. We're providing you with a minimum set number of hours, depending on the membership, but also the range of knowledge areas that we will be providing. So in a way, you can sort of forget about it because we're all going to do all the work for you. And all you need to look at is your emails and the odd check at the calendar to see what events are coming up to go, yep, that's exactly what I need to do. And I'm going to enroll.
Yep. So whilst you're on that topic of what's up next, we do have one last one for the year. So here's a really good example when we go back to our offer that we spoke about before. So if you are not yet a subscriber and you're looking at something like this, for example, our CPD regular, if you took up our monthly subscription, means in essence, you're going to get our quarterly and final changing face of SMSF for free. So because that naturally won't have that first payment until the end of December. So there's a great opportunity. But like I said, we are in the throes of finalizing our 2023 CPD calendar. We virtually have all of our dates and topics locked in until June next year. My diary is already looking very full. I think I've got events already scheduled through to November next year, which is scary when you think about it, but that's just the reality of the way in which event planning actually is in this current day. So yes, so we will be providing more. You can go to our smartersmsf.com/events page that we were at before. And again, we will also be updating on that page. I might just shoot back out to that now quickly. We will also be making sure that downloading of event schedule for the first few months will be available as well in the coming weeks too. So that is it. Thank you once again for being a part of today's session. Like I said, hopefully it has given you some insight into the way in which our CPD solutions are structured. Again, if you do have any questions, please feel free to get in contact with us by telephone or get a email through to David, and he'd be more than happy to walk you through any questions that you may have. If we don't see you for our next event, take this opportunity to say thank you, finish out the year strong, have a great Christmas, and we look forward to seeing you in 2023. Bye for now.